on the advice of a couple of naturalists. In that bay on a sandy beach, the only possible campsite for our proposed 3-week stay. The island is 3 kilometres long, but 1/3 of a kilometre high. I can't wait to discover what animals haunt the forests, what birds the shores, what fish the coral reefs. The rubber boat will stay with us to dive from. Our other gear includes 2 air compressors and a generator, medical kits and walkie-talkie radios, and all our food and water. The 25-mile journey takes 6 hours. Next morning we're nicely settled in, having unloaded at night on a high tide. The camp is tucked in round the corner of this bay. We're protected from the wind and from rough seas, but we're deprived by the Great Cliff of convenient radio contact with the mainland. When the sea calms down and the underwater visibility improves, our objective will be to concentrate on the smaller, more colourful coral reef fishes. There'll be few sharks in this bay anyway. With me, Donaldo McIver, a qualified diver, anxious to get below. And a member of another BBC, the Bangkok Bird Club, Supradit Kanwanid, ornithologist, interpreter, ex-soldier. But we're not the only primates here. But like us, the pig-tailed macaques are not natural inhabitants of Phi Phi Leh. Martin Saunders is an underwater cameraman for the real BBC. I throw some bits of banana for the macaques. The male is simply magnificent. He and the others must have been left here by previous human visitors. So tame are they. I've read that on the mainland this species is kept and bred in captivity because it can be trained to climb palm trees and select and knock down the ripe coconuts. The female is dominated by her mate and not allowed to take our scraps, except, it seems, when his back is turned. We've brought a dozen pullets and a couple of cockerels, but catching lunch is not easy, and the attempts startle the male macaque. Macaques communicate partly with sound, but more importantly by adopting certain postures and pulling certain faces, like the threat face. Meanwhile, a storm-driven waif from the adjacent mainland. The rising tide will soon drive off the reef heron, one of a dozen kinds of wild bird that nest on Phi Phi Leh Island. It's seeking fish or crabs or mollusks. At high water we can get out over the coral. The only way to get round the island is by sea. Climbing round would take a week, even though the island is only 3 kilometres long. Circumnavigation takes only an hour. Wave action has undercut the limestone 20 metres in places, and rainwater acids have fretted the great cliffs into strange forms. For limestone is a sedimentary rock composed of fragments of seashells and other marine organisms. It wears away easily and produces landscapes of a peculiar kind. Stalactites add to the variety. They represent, of course, a recycling of the limestone material. First, the rock is dissolved by the rainwater action, then later stalactites form where the water drips. The highest cliff on Phi Phi Leh plunges 300 metres, that's 1,000 feet, to dwarf our tiny toy boat below. It's difficult to imagine a more dramatic island than this. I prepare to join Martin Saunders, who's already below.